They have a refrigerator underneath the sink.
No,
Oh, then they're.
Roger, maybe to get it over to the museum. Okay.
I know we were trying to. I know we were trying to kind of.
Clean up.
Yeah, that's what we figured.
The city doesn't need.
That's what we figured, yeah. Just
You're a mile to find out.
Yeah, it's just walk in and fight. But again, so much easier.
You already never know.
But it's still.
But that's what shakes you train, but we're still.
Yeah.
them all.
This hurt.
And then maybe we.
That was painful.
Yeah.
For sure. But yeah, this hurt too.
This,
For sure.
There's a lot of.
Yeah, I was yelling at you. Rhea.
Oh, yeah. That has like a profile, so you can actually slide the heaters under.
That's like.
It's in the fridge underneath.
Is it?
Also. I was thinking of the photos.
Yeah, we can grab it. Oh, yeah, make sure we're pushing it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, the drinks are, there are drinks in there, like in that bottom cabinet now, we put a mini fridge in there that has soda and water and stuff in the tiny little mini fridge.
Thanks, Mom.
Yeah, no problem. Oh, man, wrongly.
Anybody else?
No, that's right, I have 88.
Oh, no, it's the.
Oh, that's very.
Did I get everybody on council one of these?
Yes.
Yep, everybody's got one.
Yeah, talking about the 88 one.
And I can't remember.
Oh.
Terrible.
Yeah, okay, I get your
When
thing.
you,
I thought you were saying that for meetings for
Okay.
tonight.
When's what?
No.
when you're doing the bingo night. When are we doing the?
That's-
Didn't we set it?
I don't know that day right off.
I know, that's why I said I can't
I
remember.
didn't know the day of the next meeting because I wasn't there at the last.
The bingo? When is
Wait.
bingo?
The 14th of November.
What are you gonna get?
November 14th. You view that? Everybody's going to Nashville.
So, very good.
Oh, shit. It's all going. I'm gonna
Are
stay.
we ready? Everybody present and counted for?
I'll have to tell.
6, 7, you're good.
We're all good.
Betsy? Oh.
Nope.
I'm around that. Sorry.
Okay, so go ahead and call the meeting of the, Monday, August 24th. Sheridan City Council work session to order at 18:09 or 6:09. All members are present. We have the proposed budget for 2027. I take it that's you, Gavin.
Thank you, Mayor. And before we jump into what you have in your packet.
You guys Andrea first.
We need to
Oh,
do our,
we do?
oh, yes.
I forgot. Sorry, sweetheart.
No worries. Hi, everybody. I'm Andrea with the Community Language Cooperative. We're going to practice language justice. And in a couple of seconds, we're going to start the interpretation. I just want to remind everybody who is in the room to please speak at a conversational pace and try to be close to the microphone so that we can hear you super good over here on Zoom. And hola a todos, soy Andrea, estoy aquí con la Community Language Cooperative y vamos a practicar la justicia del lenguaje. Vamos a tener interpretación simultánea en inglés y en español para que podamos comunicarnos en el idioma de nuestro corazón. Si estás viendo esta presentación o esta reunión en este momento a través de YouTube, la grabación en español va a estar disponible en algunos días en la página web de la ciudad de Sheridan o en el YouTube de la ciudad de Sheridan. And host, we can start interpretation now.
Thank you very much. We have called the meeting to order at 6:09 PM or 18:09. Devin is up first with the 2027 proposed budget.
Thanks, Mayor. Before we jump into that, I just want to touch on really quick this handout I gave to you guys. So I got this from South Suburban. They met with all of the city managers from the various cities that they serviced. And this is a breakdown of what they're proposing in their capital improvement budget. So I figured since we're talking capital improvements for our budget, we just touch on this one, and just to show you on the Parks and Rec side, what's coming in or what's budgeted to come into the city for the 2027 budget. So if what I'll just say is it totals a little over $6 million. We have a number of Bear Creek Trail expenses in here. This is nothing that you guys haven't known about on the Bear Creek Trail side of things. It's all the things that we've been talking about. The Mary Carter Greenway Trail widening, that's their match in the project that staff has talked about with council previously for the trail underneath Hampton and US 285. You can see on Sheridan Community Park that they're looking at replacing some of the playground and shade pavilion and restroom there, so that'll be nice. On the rec center, they are looking at primarily roof replacement, I think, roof and HVAC to make it more comfortable in the gym for the AC there. And then there's also some preliminary design work going in. That's that last budget item. And that would be to look at preliminary design for improvements that might be included in a future bond measure question. So pretty good outlay of funds that they've got coming into the city at the moment.
That's what they're putting into it.
On 2027. Yeah, that would be for my understanding on this, and I can get more info if you need, but they would be putting in or they'd be putting forth $300,000 just for design work. And so they're looking at Buck, Goodson, Lone Tree, Sheridan Rec Center, all of their rec centers for what might they need or what do they want to possibly go to the voters for in a bond question. That would be in 28 when they would go for the bond question. So spending some money to kind of go through design and say, okay, these are the level of improvements we might like to see at these various rec centers. And you got to spend some money up front to figure out, okay, do some preliminary design so you know how much money to ask for if you're going to go on a bond question.
Still just a word amount of money that's given to everyone, or they given to for the different situations for each city?
Yeah, no, this is just a breakdown by city. They don't go, oh, city Sheridan gets this much and then they go spend it, and Lone Tree gets this much and then they go spend it. They look at their district as a whole.
Right.
And they plan their facilities accordingly. And then this is just a breakdown that they did for us, so we could see what's being spent or what's being budgeted to be spent in Sheridan.
And do they have that money? Oh, so they don't have that money to be spent? That's just how much it's gonna cost for those?
Well, they'll be spending this $6 million.
Yeah, that's what I was
Yes.
asking. So
Does
that's
that have
pretty
to be
impressive.
approved by voters or?
Yeah. No.
Alright.
Okay, so all of this money is gonna get spent next year.
Okay,
All of this money is what they're saying in their proposed budget. The 300,000, that last line item there
Yeah.
is what they're spending to do some design work to figure out, okay, what do we want to ask for the next year, 2028, if we go for a bond measure that says, okay, they're gonna do this level of improvements to Sheridan Rec Center, whatever in the bond question. But they gotta spend a little bit up front to do some design work to figure out what do we want to,
Okay.
how much do we need to ask, right?
million? Oh,
Right.
300,000, yeah.
Right, that's all design work to look at all of their rec centers and figure out, okay. What level of improvements or what improvements are they recommending to make at those rec centers?
But they are gonna replace the roofs and the roof.
Yes, that's happening next year, if it hasn't started
It's
already.
project,
So-
Yeah.
South
That's-
Suburban.
that's
put
the
6
$2 million.
bucks into Sheridan.
Yes,
Yeah, that's great.
yeah, it's pretty good,
Start though.
it's a pretty good capital outlay right now, yeah.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
I need the roof to
Okay.
be good for.
And if we need more info on any of these, they'd be happy to come in and we can sit with us and kind of talk about it, but. Just wanted you guys to be aware, and I thought tonight would be a good night because we're talking about capital, so let's talk about our capital.
To hear what Anthony said, it's a good idea to fix the roof first.
Yeah, it always is. And you know, that is a very positive step
Exactly.
forward because a couple years ago, they weren't ready to do that at all.
It's awesome.
Yeah. So that's good. It's a good faith, I think expenditure on behalf of South Suburban.
So this is their plan for what they're funding for next year, and then out of the design pieces, like for the rec center.
That would inform a potential ballot question.
That would be what would inform them, like replacing showers.
Correct.
That.
Noticeable.
Yes, so you're gonna have design professionals walk through there and go, all right, if you wanna do this, we know it's gonna cost this much. So you gotta pay all those guys to go through and come up with the whole plan about, all right, if you're gonna go for,
Yeah.
if you're gonna go for a bond measure, this is what you need to ask for. Okay. Moving to our capital, I think I'm gonna turn it over to Teresa, but I will just touch on one thing real quick. I excused Jeremiah from tonight. They have a family emergency. His mom's not doing well. They have family flying in.
Oh.
So that just stays here. I didn't want that to be public. That's not public knowledge. But just to let you know, I did it. So I'm gonna, between Teresa and I, will try and cover. He did a very good memo in here that outlines the expenditures and all that. But hopefully, if you have questions that either Teresa or I can't answer, I'll get you the answers, you know, when Jeremiah is available. So, okay,
Perfect, thank you.
you bet. Teresa, do you want to touch on revenues, please?
You bet. So there are basically two sources of revenue for the capital fund. Every year in December, the SRA distributes a portion, based on a calculation, a portion of the PIF to the city. And it was voted upon that 50% of that every year has to go to, is dedicated to streets and infrastructure structure. So we have budgeted $614,178 to be received in 2027. And then the other is it's just funded from the general fund. So that always pays for everything for public works, for the police department, if we have any servers that we need, basically anything that general fund would pay for, that's that. And we have budgeted next year for $748,601. So that's the two sources of revenue. I'm gonna have to skip it down a few pages. If you go to page 10. Yeah, so we're going down to the bottom of yeah, one more page. Sorry, Jenna.
All right.
All right, so basically what I'm looking at is in that bottom right-hand corner are components of fund balance, where you can see that we have 3 million, basically all of our fund balance, the 3,537,28 is from the 2A revenues that we have collected. But we also know that, you know, that it will help, but it's never going to be quite enough for what we're going to need for our streets and infrastructure needs. But just to let you know, that is all 2A revenues that have to be dedicated to streets and infrastructure. So I'm sorry, I skipped kind of down. So as far as going back up on the capital side, did you have any question? I don't think I can answer really anything on the public works budget, but did you have any questions on that or on the public safety requests that were put in?
Well, here, let me, if you don't mind, Teresa, I'll walk through really quick on the public.
Perfect.
And then the chief's here in case council has any questions about the public safety capital budget. But as you're looking at Jeremiah's memo, this one right here, the 2027 capital public works budget, pretty basic things we got going on here. The first one is the pavement maintenance and repair program. That's our main outlay every year for fixing the streets, right? That's what we use this for, is fixing the streets. So you can see, we're looking at a proposal of $725,000 for next year, but the most of that is doing asphalt overlay work. Okay, and then doing a good amount of chip seal, slurry seal, tape seal at $180,000. And then we also have some miscellaneous, some parking, or pavement marking, some concrete repairs. This is where we do put money in for when we have, concrete repairs, which is primarily sidewalks. Doing that. We do, especially in hot summers like we have now, we see them buckle up. And so you'll have them buckle. So any extreme temperatures, we've got a lot of hot temperatures now. And then if we get that followed up with some cold, we just find areas where it buckles and cracks. And so we generally stick around 50 to 75,000 or even 100,000 into this budget to look at that every year. So that's reflected in here as well. Kind of unusual is the Union Pacific crossing, the next item that we have in there at $250,000. So this is, as you guys are probably aware, maybe new council members might not be as aware. The Union Pacific crossing down at Oxford and well, it's kind of both. It's River Point Parkway, and then that turns into, what is it on the other side, Andrew? Natchez, thank you. Sorry, brain dead there. But that main intersection there, in working with the Public Utilities Commission and Union Pacific to do crossing improvements there. Since it involves a railroad property, it is very difficult, very complicated. Takes years and years and years, and we're almost there. So, yeah. I think in Jeremiah's memo, he mentions that we're waiting on,
So yes, for the PUC application, we were getting, luckily it's something I specialize in, so it's kind of been kind of nice, I think, for Jeremiah. And so we redid the application, had PUC look at it, you know, they do kind of preliminary look to make sure you do all the boxes right. Had a couple things that need to be tuned up, and we are sending that back to the engineers, the consulting engineers, and should be submitting the application relatively soon, I would think, and that usually about a 60-day process if it's unopposed to get an approval from the PUC, and then for UP scheduled crews, usually about a year.
Okay.
So
okay.
Didn't all of this kind of start back when the cruiser went in the hole?
No, not really.
After that?
No,
Because they were looking.
it's always
at
been
area.
more of the crossing over the tracks.
Right, where,
Yeah, you know, it definitely has some grade issues and some things like that, but that wasn't really affected by any of the stormwater.
no, the
Yeah.
work to start having with a railroad started about that.
About that time.
Yeah,
It
about
was,
that
it was,
same
yeah, it was,
That's
it's been
same.
going for years. now.
Yeah.
Yeah, to try and get this addressed, yes. Yes, Mayor, so it's been a long
long
way.
time.
Yep. If you go on the next page of the memo or just paging down, police department locker rooms. You got $50,000 in here. This is really just to help wrap up the project and any miscellaneous items that we have going into next year. This year, we will be doing the majority of the work, and we just wanted to put some extra funds as a placeholder in there in case we needed any additional work that needed to be billed into next year. Building remodel, we're putting $15,000 in there. And mainly what I want to do with this money is to do a space analysis. So have a building engineer, somebody that come in and knows how to look at a building space and interiors and figure out, okay, give us some options on how we can most efficiently use the space that we have. So including the new Umatilla property, including and looking at general government, at the old fire department space where the detectives are in. I think PD's pretty well squared away, but we'll have them look, you know, and see if they have any suggestions on how can we have an optimal use of space, because we are and have been for a little while, a little bit, I feel, not using our space as well as we could. Could be using it better. So having somebody come in and give us some design options on how the best we can use the space that we have. Okay. City grounds upgrades, $40,000. That's looking at improvements. And this is kind of what we talked about, directly came from the goal setting session, looking around the outside of the building here. How can we activate the grounds and use a better job with that? The restroom remodel, our restrooms do need to be addressed here in City Hall. They're old. They need to be upgraded. Yeah, they need a little love and tenderness, so, we're budgeted $20,000 to look at doing that. Entryway signage, we talked about that at goal setting too, remember some of the cruddy old signage that we have around here, so parked some money in to do that.
Nice.
And then vehicles and equipment, $80,000. I'm trying to remember what he had in here. Do you remember specifics on this, Teresa? Cause I don't.
I think, wasn't there something about, was it, he was looking at like something like an F-650, but that wasn't being made anymore, so. Or some,
I apologize, I can't remember the details on this one.
Yeah.
I know we were looking at doing away with larger, um, larger plow trucks that you need a CDL to operate. And bringing them down in maybe a 350 or larger, more pickup and put things, because we can do a lot of the work using those and not have to have a very expensive plow truck that you have to have a CDL to do. Now, we still will have, I think, one plow truck, one or two, but augmenting that with some equipment, plow equipment that doesn't require a CDL. And that's where I need Jeremiah to go into the specifics. I don't remember exactly the specifics. But look, again, his idea was being able to utilize, looking at different equipment and being able to utilize it not only for summer needs, but we can put a plow onto the top of it, onto the front of it, use it and plow what we need to in winter. We don't have to have employees that have CDLs to use those, and they're cheaper. Plow trucks are very expensive, very expensive.
But we'd still we'd keep one for the larger streets.
We would still have some larger, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like Oxford.
Yeah, there'd just be
Smaller
there'd
things
be
would be
smaller
easier to
stuff
get
that we
down
could
the
do things
streets.
with, or depending on the volume of the snow, do we need to have, right, gives us a little bit more flexibility.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, and when we get into final, I'll ask Jeremiah to get you some more info on that one. I can't remember off the top of my head. Anything else on Public Works, Teresa, in your notes that I missed?
no, I didn't have anything else.
Okay. If council have any questions about any of the public works items?
Yeah, mostly just about that roads one, you know, at 725, if that's gonna be enough to keep our streets in good shape and keep us out of the weeds, you know, for a good long time, like, and making sure that we have a good plan, you know, to keep heading in that direction as far as like avoiding more bump measures and stuff.
It's a great point. Bluntly, no.
Do we need to think about more? 'Cause,
Well,
you know, roads-
that's one of the reasons why we're looking at a sales tax increase. And looking at how do we generate some additional revenue
For public safety.
for public safety. If we can do that for public safety, we can take the monies that would have been there and we can move them and you could use them here. So, you know, that's one of the rationales for looking at that. But no, are we currently, is this what we need to be doing every year to make sure that no, it falls short. We need to be doing more.
What's Jeremiah's actual number, yeah? Wonder what Jeremiah's actual.
Yeah, it would be a lot more. It'd probably almost be double that.
But yeah, we're gonna have to use that sales tax increase, so.
Yeah.
So that's our angle, and we're looking good on.
Yeah, well, if we
Looking
look
better.
at plugging this out 10 years, which is what you would want to do, it falls short of where we would want to be. So that's the reason that we are looking at augmenting our revenue sources and have that come in. If that doesn't pan out, we might need to look at something else. So, yeah.
I like what they did last year. You know, they did the same kind of thing last year. Right?
Mhm.
I don't even think we spent that much, did we?
I don't think we spent quite this much last year. I can't recall, and I don't know, Teresa, if you remember where we were on 20, or it's probably in the spreadsheet. I just don't have that in front of me.
Sales slurry thing, or that's what that one's, right? They call it.
We had about 500.
Was it about 500?
Yeah.
The record spray.
Yeah. I'm trying to grab it right now and I can't, but that sounds right around 500 or so, yeah. So we're absolutely trying to put more in and keep up as we can. Yeah. About.
Is stormwater anywhere here?
Oh, we'll get in there. Oh, yeah. And no, this looks good compared to some of our, yeah. Okay. How about we move on to our public safety capital budget request? And Chief, do you wanna highlight any of the stuff that you got in there? And then we can ask if council has any questions?
Sure, I could just go over it.
Sure.
It's okay. So the first request that we have is for police vehicles. It's important to keep our fleet up and running and replace older units that end up costing more to maintain them. So this year we're asking for 2 police vehicles. One will be for our patrol, one will be for our aging administrative vehicles. And the vehicles are expensive, of course, but then outfitting them with all the necessary lights, sirens, etc. gets expensive. But total for 2 of them would be $180,000. It would be higher if it was 2 patrol vehicles, but the admin vehicle won't require as much, so it comes down a little bit. So 188,000 is the ask for the vehicles. Body worn cameras, we've talked about that. We entered into a contract with Axon 5 years ago. You can pay it all up front, or you can pay it over 5 years. So we looked at doing that again with Axon. Did look at other competitors that have come into the market. Axon is a much superior product. Our district attorneys actually prefer Axon, but if we would have found something that would have been maybe less expensive, that gave us everything that we needed and some, we would have went with them, but Axon won that battle. Even their price ended up being lower than the major competitor, which was Motorola. So I really worked on them and prodded them with some of the different things that we wanted, and we were able to get some things that we didn't have last time, which is going to help. Some of that is video redaction. We're getting a lot of requests for redaction of videos, so there's new process to help with that. Of course, we still have our storage, which can be very expensive. And just a couple other small things that have helped with that, but they kept the price relatively. It was better than the other one. The other one was about 199,000. Didn't give us as much. This one would be 185,000. But if we spread that out over 5 years, which is the way I believe we're going to do it, that's a cost of 29,477 per year. And it's just important to remember, body worn cameras are required by law, so we do have to get some type of camera. And our current cameras, even if we kept them, we still have to pay for the same services, etc. And those cameras batteries are going dead, etc. So this is a good option for us. The next thing that we have is our less lethal. One of the most important less lethal options we have is taser. The taser is, of course, a way to stop someone that is being combative, or in the case of, like, even if we look at the incident on the Bear Creek Trail where the guy was with the machete and we tried to stop him first with the taser product that we have. Those tasers are over 20 years old. There's newer and better technology that's out. The one that we would be getting and that we're asking for is called the Taser 10. That has 10 separate taser probes that can be shot. So in a case like we had somebody like that on the trail again or something similar, we could have one person's weapon was fired 10 different times trying to get next we need to stop that person. So that is a much better technology and can keep our officers and our community safer. So it's beyond time that we ask for that. That contract to get every one of our officers set up with that is $185,619. That also can be spread out over 5 years, which is what we're planning on doing, for a cost of $37,124 per year. And that's something that is not absolutely required by law, but if you didn't have it and we didn't use that, there could be a lot more liability on the city. So it is time that we definitely look at upgrading those. And being that we were doing both contracts because they're both Axon products, it helped us get a little bit better deal on both body worn cameras and the tasers if we were just doing one. So those are our 2 biggest requests. Again, stretch them out over 5 years helps. And then the other request that we have is the ballistic shields. We have 4 of them. Those are used in high stress situations where somebody may have a firearm, and we do our best to approach them and keep the officer safe using ballistic shield. Those have a warranty expiration date on them. 2 of ours are expired, so we're down to 2. We like to have 1 in each of the patrol vehicles for the sergeants. So we're asking to replace those. Those are a cost of approximately $7,000 a piece. So for 2 of them, that would be $14,000. And then the other request that we're making is, it goes back to our conversation we had last year about the cameras. We were looking at flock cameras last year for approximately 6 cameras for $18,000. We don't think we would go to flock just because of some of the problems that flock has had and some of the things that part of the problems. They were sharing the information too widely and didn't have the scope to drill it in. But Axon also offers a camera, and we can look at others, but we have asked for $18,000 in case we decide that that's the way that we want to move forward. I know the cameras can be very controversial, but I'm here to tell you they are very, very beneficial to us in preventing crime and solving crime. And I've used that example plenty of times about the homicide that we had. Without those, we probably still wouldn't know who did that. But it's a very important tool, and if we can get involved in the game with getting a few of the cameras, it would be very helpful. So.
And so just to be clear to council, we're not deciding we're gonna buy flock cameras tonight. We're just saying we're gonna put money in the budget. If at some point next year, we decide we've had a discussion, and I wanna have a discussion with council, I know you guys wanna do it, we talked about that in goal setting. We'll have a discussion and we'll educate ourselves on this and make, get you all the information you guys need to have to make a good decision on that. And the money will then be there if you decide that you wanna move forward. If we don't, it just rolls over into fund balance, which is fine too, so.
Well, we already kind of agreed on it, right? Last year,
Hmm?
we agreed to approve the budget for the 18 grand for the flock cameras last year.
Well, we had been looking at bringing a contract forward for council consideration of that. And in anticipation of that, we put some money, it was very similar, we put some money in the budget and said, well, let's work up a contract and then have a discussion with council about what that looks like. And then that's when all holy hell broke loose on it. Yeah.
There were laws that were being looked at and
Yeah.
seeing if they were going to be available. We didn't want to enter into a contract and then find out that we bought cameras that you can't even
Yeah.
use.
Even the
So-
folks from Flock were saying,
Hang
we wouldn't even enter, they're like saying, no, you shouldn't do this yet. You need to wait and see what happens, so, yeah.
I do have a question. Oh, sorry, Jim.
Just real quick, is so those 3 things together, is Flock gonna send somebody out to do all the training on how to use?
It's most likely not going to be flock.
I'm
Cameras
sorry,
that
not
we
Flock, I
get.
said Flock, but I meant.
Okay, Axon. Axon. As far as training for any of those.
Yeah, I mean, a 10-shot taser. you'd think
Yeah,
that's
we
pretty
absolutely
good
will
training.
we absolutely will get retrained. We have to qualify with that taser every year anyway. So this package contains all of the practice cartridges that we have. It also has a training simulator, which is something we've never had before. So it will give us the opportunity to wear something like the AI glasses that you can be involved in, like a scenario and make commands. And if you need to use the taser, that you practice with that. So there's also some other new practical parts that this helps with. So training, and then anything that we need as far as support and service and training, we will get. It also allows our officers, our trainers to go and get the training, which they will use. So yes, they're absolutely
All part of it.
new training. We will not issue the taser 10s until everyone receives the training, or whoever has not received the training will not get the taser 10 until
Got it.
they are tested with it and qualified to use it. So absolutely.
Do you still have to be tased to carry one, or is that like
No.
long old?
There's some
Practice.
departments that do that.
I have video of my son
But
being
not everyone.
tased.
Yes.
I remember we had a couple that got tased up in the.
Sometimes they
courtroom,
ask
but-
for a volunteer, so your son might volunteer. But not everyone is tased to.
The new ones that wrap around the person.
Yeah, that's called wrap technology. That's good for apprehending somebody that's running. Because what it'll do is it shoots out like a long string and it goes around and it's made to.
Like Spider-Man.
Yeah.
You seen this
So
action?
I've seen that. We've seen
Yeah,
that.
we did it on
Consider that for-
Yeah.
I think they said
That's crazy.
Yeah, but it doesn't work the same as this taser. Taser can be used on somebody who's aggressive, won't stop,
Right.
whereas the other one's made for someone who's fleeing.
Have you
So
ever
it's just
used the
another
tasers
tool.
ever in Sheridan?
Oh, yeah, we've used them often. Unfortunately, our current tasers are not,
Better to use them than anything.
they're failing more often than they're working.
Serious?
Wow.
Yeah, they're old.
They're, yeah, well over 20 years old, so,
Really.
Mhm.
I have a question, chief.
yes.
The admin vehicles, is that the commander vehicles?
It could be a command vehicle, it could be one for our investigations unit, and our investigations unit's probably where it's gonna go, but.
Yeah.
Well, so as far as the body cam, doesn't Axon also do like a flock camera as well? So my
Two
question-
different things, what Axon does do cameras that are similar to flock,
To the
yes.
flock, which-
That's what Denver switched over, they had flock cameras, they switched to Axon as their
Axon.
vendor.
So now my question would be a financial question. Would. If once we have the discussion and what have you, would they be able to, whatever you've already ordered, add that to the order and get a cheaper?
We would,
if
we
you do a
would, we
three
would
for
remind
one As
them,
opposed to 2 for 1?
we would
Yeah,
remind
you know
them
what I'm saying?
that we are customers with both their tasers and their body worn cameras and use that as much leverage as we can. And they know they're competing with, you know, the other people out there that are doing
Right,
that, so.
Right,
I've seen where they'll just give somebody. You know, they'll say this is how much it costs and people accept it, they'll take it. And this particular case on both of ours, we kept saying, that's not gonna work, that's not gonna work. And we went,
Yeah.
for instance, the last upgrade and everything that we got on our body worn cameras, they were asking for $67,000 more than we ended up getting it for, but I told them it's just not gonna work. And
Whereas
kind of
most-
used, yeah, you know, but there is a competitor out there, we're looking at them,
Mhm.
et cetera, and they wanted to keep us, so it was all
I was just
legitimate,
thinking of bundling.
but yes.
We could bundle.
We bundled those two, and the cameras, the amount of cameras that we're talking about is a small amount. So, yeah, so what we would make sure that we do our best to do is make sure we compared it to what Flock was, which was 18,000 for 6, so that's about $3,000 camera. And that included the camera and, you know, the upkeep, the maintenance. So I don't know that there's a lot of pushing that we can do in there, but we'll try to get at least 6 of them for that price is what my goal is.
So then as far as the recording and the retrieval of those recordings, as. Is it the same system that?
They use evidence,
For the
it's
flock
called
cameras and-
evidence.com.
Oh,
And,
okay,
and I'm sure they tie in together
Okay.
and you can use the systems
Okay.
together, so that may save us some money, yes.
okay.
Okay,
Which,
And-
yeah, which vehicles needed replaced currently? Just wondering.
One of our older vehicles, like the transmission was going out, we'd wanna pay $7,000 to have the transmission replaced when we're gonna be replacing it, so that was
Yeah.
one of the older Fords,
Uh-huh.
that's gonna go out. And then, one of the admin vehicles is starting, it's probably 9 years old and it didn't get as much mileage, but it is getting older, we need to replace it. So
Understood, thanks, yeah.
yeah, we try to be pretty proactive, as you know, on keeping those fleet, all of our fleet, public safety, public works, keeping all of our fleet up to speed as much as, again, not waiting until it breaks down. We replace it before that. That way we get good auction value, we get good trade-in value, we just don't run into the major huge problems and waiting until your fleet gets so old. And then you're replacing things on an emergency basis and you're paying through the nose.
Right.
One of the ghost vehicles we were using over at Target, but out at Costco over there, in River, we call it a ghost vehicle because we park it there and there's nobody really in it, but we're trying to deter.
Mhm.
You know, sometimes we do have people there, but sometimes we don't, so we used that vehicle. That vehicle that we were using there was limping over there to get over there. Yeah, he was yeah, that was just one of the old vehicles that we were doing our best to. But if we're to put that into regular service, that wouldn't work, it'd be too unreliable, so.
Any other questions before we move on to our other funds for tonight? Okay. I'm gonna let Teresa take over on this one primarily. We've got what I call our special revenue funds. So it's open space, conservation trust funds, stormwater, debt service, volunteer fire pension, and Sheridan Celebrates, even though Sheridan Celebrates is general fund budget. But most of these funds have we call them special revenue funds because they have a dedicated revenue source from them. So, for example, the open space fund has funding that comes from the open space, the county's open space tax and gets shared back with us. you know, Conservation Trust Fund is lottery money that comes in from the state, and we get a piece of it. So it has special pieces of or special sources of revenue where the money comes from. So, Teresa, take it
All
away.
right. So, yeah, like Devin said, everything that is kind of our special funds usually have their own revenue source. So Open Space Fund, as you know, we get the annual share back from Arapahoe County. I budgeted 235,597 for that. The other items are we have the GoCo Inspire grant, which that has been ongoing, and we're going to continue with that. And then the other items, the other grant items were things that we had budgeted this year, but are getting moved to next year. And that's for the Mary Carter Greenway widening grant, the Bear Creek Trail widening, and the Bear Creek Trailhead. So that's kind of the money's coming in. And then as you'll see, you're going to have the offsetting expenses for all those grants. So, you know, your GoCo Inspire, you know, the federal project, we're going to be working on that, the 3600 South Federal. And then, like we said, all the grants that we talked about up above, we're going to be having the expenses for those down below. So we're just, and I think whatever Devin gave you probably has from South Suburban, probably had some of that information in there as well.
Yeah,
So
some of
moving
those,
on to our
some of those items are their match to these projects.
the next budget that we're going to talk about is our conservation trust fund. We from there we get quarterly lottery revenue. So that we've got that budgeted at 36,598, and then a small amount of interest coming in. Our conservation trust fund has a little bit stricter rules than open space. So we usually tend to kind of collect that for a few years until we have a project that will fit well for that. So it pays for the ongoing maintenance of parks. So that's where we've got those for the 18,000 for Bobcat, Wildcat, Persinger, and Veterans Park. And then we always just put a little amount in there for miscellaneous park projects so that if we have anything come up, we're able to, you know, go ahead and fix it or take care of it if we need to.
And that's really so that we just don't have to do a budget amendment. We'll still come to the council if we have a project, we'll still go by you, make sure that you bless it, that you're okay with it. But then we just don't have to do a budget amendment to do the project if it's a small little miscellaneous project.
So on our stormwater fund, I'm gonna press pause on that and go to the debt service fund because Jeremiah actually wrote up a nice memo for the stormwater. So our debt service revenues, as you know, that we refinanced the bonds, all but one part of the 2016 bonds. So looking at next year for the property tax and specific ownership, we're going to have to assess an 8.552 mill levy. This always makes me happy when I tell you this because when we started this project, what our commitment was to the citizens was they would never have over a 20 mill levy. So it just keeps getting lower. So I just love that because that's better for our constituents. So yes, I always like that we have such a low mill levy. So, and then we have the transfer for the COP payment of 372,275. And then of course, with debt service, we're paying our bond principal, our bond interest, and then our COP principal and interest. Our volunteer fire pension fund, we really kept that a lot the same. The city will make their 50,000 matching. I will apply for the grant with the state for 23,194. And then the benefit expenses, we have been coming under those. So we're just going to leave that at 90. And then Sheridan Celebrates, we did have one change that Jean wanted to note, and that was that we have started having interpretation and translation expense. So we have broken that out. So you will see there is a $2,000 line item for that in their budget. That's a little different from what it was in the past. And then moving on down to the stormwater public works. I think this year from in talking to Jeremiah and Devin is we're really going to, the stormwater rate model is going to get done. I think there has to be, I think Jeremiah has looked into it, and I think there's a lot of like, he needs computer software, he needs some things to, I believe, I'm not going to say all this right, but basically to get all the information in the system so we have it documented, and then they can build that rate model off of it once he kind of has all of that in there. And so we will for 2027 for the revenue. We do have, as we have in the past, we've always just increased the stormwater bills by 10% until we get that final rate model. So that's what we have for revenue increase. And then, like I said, I think we are going to get this wrapped up and get the rate model and all of that going. So we have a better picture of what we really need to do for the stormwater.
So let me just, that was a very good summary by Teresa. Let me just touch on a little bit here. You know, if you remember during our goal setting, we were talking about the stormwater fund. It is not sustainable. It's not in a sustainable place. We've known this for a while. So in order to build a sustainable rate model, you have to know what kind of system you have, how much does it cost for that system to provide the service, and how much does it cost to maintain it? How much does it cost for capital replacement of it over a span of years? So that's what we do, and we bring in a rate modeler, and that's what this $50,000 is, to go out, make sure we understand exactly what the system involves. It would be looking at TVing it, doing all the kind of stuff, making sure we do an assessment of its condition, all those kind of things. And then have them look at that. Then once you know what is the cost to provide the service, then you can build a rate model around that.
Are they
And
called
they-
modelers?
Hmm?
Do they call themselves modelers?
No.
No, I was really curious. I'm like.
No, yeah. No, they,
New-
it's contractors. It'd be a contractor that you hire that does that kind of work, yeah. The last time I did this, I did one for the town of Dillon. And the guy we hired to do it got hired away by Denver Water to do their rate modeling for him. So it's some people specialize in.
I'm
Yeah.
sure, that's what I was, my next
Mhm.
question, these modelers, there's probably few of them out there, right?
There's some that specialize in it, and there's a few companies out there that will do this work.
Oh,
So we'll get a handful of bids from people to come and do the work.
okay,
Yeah.
that was exactly my next.
Yep.
question. How
Um,
many do you think will fit on it? There's a
Oh,
few modelers.
if we got, for a system our size, this small, if we got 2 or 3, I'd be ecstatic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright, cool.
But we do also need to buy some computer software that helps us maintain that system, catalog that system, always, we don't have anything that does our stormwater system right now, so we need that. And then cleaning and video, so we definitely, and this takes me into the last item I'll talk about on storm. We do need to get in there. We do have areas of our stormwater that needs to be cleaned up, that needs maintenance. We need to go in there, and the best way to know all that is that you video it all, so you can have a visual record of what you have in there, and then go out and have that cleaned up. So we got 50,000 in the capital for doing that for next year. We're gonna be doing some of that right away, though. And this is one thing, Jeremiah was gonna talk to council tonight before he had that family emergency, and if I can just take 5 minutes, I'll talk about it. So we had the big storm event, and we had a bit of flooding in the city, as almost everybody had some flooding going on across the metro area. By and large, our stormwater system did what it needed to do. It collected, it put the stormwater into the areas that it needed to go to. It drained out as it needed to drain. But there were some areas where it didn't work great, and we had some blockages. We had some areas of flooding. So we have engaged with a company that we used to do some of the work at the VFW that needed to be done, and they're gonna do some alleyway work. Our alleyways need some work that, when you have big washout events like this, it just exacerbates the problems when you have some of the older dirt alleys like we have. So we're gonna have them do some work on our alleys that will help. with washout that we saw. They're gonna do the alleyway between Girard and Hampton. That'll be involving reclaiming gravel and stabilizing it and prepping it for paving next year. We'll do the alleyway between Canosa and Bryant on Girard. That'll be again reclaiming gravel and stabilizing. And then on South King and Mansfield, that alley that way will pave this year. So in addition to doing that, we also have a couple companies that are scheduling in the next 2 weeks to do additional video inspection and jet cleaning. So we had with that, you guys saw the pictures probably too, a lot of stuff washed down into the drainage, into the inlets, into the area, and they need to be, we need to go in and video it, see where the blockages are, jet clean them where we can and get that stuff out so that they're ready for the next storm and we don't have backup. So all of that is going on right now in addressing the latest big storm that we had. So the system worked pretty well. It really, I mean, compared to what it was before we made all the improvements on the stormwater system and about 10 years ago and everything, I mean, it was very good compared to how it could have been.
You learned all them swimming holes.
Yeah.
I've been into the every.
Yeah, well, and we used to have any kind of rain and over here in was just south of Dallas is, what was it on? Was it on
Decatur.
Decatur?
Oh,
We had that big the swimming hole over there.
Great.
That one.
Yeah, that's gone pretty soon. Thank goodness on that.
Thank you.
Teresa, anything I missed on stormwater?
No, I think that covers it all.
Okay, any questions the council had on stormwater? Yeah,
It was more about the road.
okay.
Just wasn't aware that there was any alleys left unpaved. I was wondering if we had an idea of how many more there were.
We got a handful of them, so we do. So that's something that we definitely want to get to at one point is kind of paving as we go. We can't do it all at once. It's just, we don't have the funding to
We
do
just
that.
got a couple of.
But doing 1 or 2 a year or so, or in some of the more problem ones that are what we see with that washout. So that's definitely on Jeremiah's radar to do a lot of that. And looking at bringing on contractors to do more cleaning and maintenance in the alleys
Right.
that are either gravel at this point or dirt, that we can't get to quite yet.
Yeah.
And making sure that we're still doing, that we can go through and grade, we can do some of that work and making sure we're doing that.
Sounds good.
Yeah, you bet.
Is yours first? Are you?
I'm hoping that it's the one that's right between Mansfield and Milan and King and,
Yes,
yeah, is that, it's such a
I'm
mess.
pretty sure it's.
With the big.
Oh, it's all dirt and it's a 4x4 trail.
So, so the alley between South King and West Mansfield, will be paved by our patching company because erosion is problematic due to steep grades and constant washout. So I think it's that one, Jay, and I apologize.
It's so good for.
Jeremiah sent me pictures, but I wasn't able to get them, but I'm pretty sure it's that one.
So.
Yes, and I'll verify that for you. We've got a couple minutes, Mayor, so unless there's other questions, tonight's pretty straightforward. Yeah, any questions on any of the items that we have on tonight? It's the second reading of the ordinance,
Oh, yeah.
sales tax.
Anthony has a question.
Okay,
Yeah, this is unrelated, but the Sheridan Celebrators we're interested in if we could get possibly a city vehicle, maybe an electric vehicle to have for the parade.
Enter the parade.
oh, to like
To be in the.
just drive around in it?
In the parade.
Yeah, we could do our one that has the has all the markings on it,
Yeah.
That would
Yeah,
be
that sounds
cool.
perfect.
Yeah, yeah.
Like just what we need.
Yeah, we can absolutely do that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll volunteer someone to drive it. Or you guys can do it.
Possibly, yeah,
Anthony
either way
would
would work.
drive- Anthony,
Yeah,
your idea, you get to drive it, right?
That's
Yeah.
fine.
Okay,
I can live with that.
there you go. That sounds good.
Check the mailboxes.
or anyone else that has any idea for parade entries,
Okay.
Yeah, but parade entries have been hard to come by nowadays.
because
Mm.
of the gas prices and.
Yeah.
So,
Mm.
people that wanna walk or ride a horse or ride a bike or whatever.
Yeah.
Life is a horse. That's fun. You
Get to a horse,
get to horse.
And then you can come on a little sign, that you know, you represent the city of Paradise.
We should have.
Yourself some banners for the.
Well, you know, Dallas always volunteered to be on the scooping crew behind at the end,
Yes, he
you
did.
know. That was his thing. He always volunteered to
Andrea, if you're there, you can go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Andrea with the Community Language Cooperative. We're going to be practicing language justice, and I just wanted to remind everybody to please speak at a conversational pace so that I can interpret everything into Spanish. Hola a todos, soy Andrea, estoy aquí con la Community Language Cooperative. Vamos a estar practicando la justicia del lenguaje y tendremos interpretación simultánea en inglés y en español. Si estás viendo esta reunión en este momento a través del canal de YouTube de la ciudad de Sheridan, quiero que sepas que la reunión en español va a ser publicada en el canal de YouTube de la ciudad de Sheridan en los siguientes días. And host, we can start interpretation now.
Thank you. I'm gonna go ahead and call this August 24th, 2026, regular meeting of the Sheridan City Council to order. Welcome and good evening, everyone. Please, we are all here. Yes, we are. But why is okay. Now we're all here on the software too.
One more time.
There we go. Oh, that was weird. Okay. Are you ready, sir, for the invocation?
Mhm.
We'll have Councilman Whitaker lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed, or the invocation followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
God of peace, we invite you to preside over this meeting. Even if we have different opinions, give us unity of spirit. Help us each to listen politely as others share their points of view. Help us to work as a unified team in combining ideas for a great outcome. Help us to work as a whole rather than individuals trying to promote their own agendas. May we have a spirit of camaraderie in this room and work together on our shared mission. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag
of
of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with
liberty and justice for all.
Next, we have the approval of the agenda. City Clerk, are there any changes to the agenda?
No changes to the agenda, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Next, we have the financial reports. Are there any questions on the financial reports? We have a motion by Councilwoman Stang and a second by Mayor Pro Tem Michael Moreno. Got it. I know, it's such a tongue twister. We can go ahead and cast our votes. That approves by a unanimous vote of 7. Next, we have staff reports. City Clerk.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Just make sure you check your mailboxes this evening before you leave. And then if you are wanting to attend the National League of Cities conference.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I was logging into the meeting. I'm sorry.
Okay. If you're wanting to attend the National League of Cities, if you could please let me know right away so we can get everybody confirmed. Hotels have filled up pretty quickly. So the host hotel is full, but I want to make sure we kind of get you close to the location of the conference. So please let me know right away. And then if we get everybody booked at the same time, they will comp one of the registrations. So let me know as soon as possible. Hopefully like today or tomorrow would be great. And that is all I have. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. City Attorney. Hi, Brandon. Nice to see you this evening. Uh-oh.
Well, I have nothing to report, but thank you for welcoming me.
City Manager. Mhm. Manager, it's your turn.
Yep, thank you, Mayor. You have my written report in front of you, just the one or two things I'll touch on there. Where'd it go? The second item I have on there, cable franchise agreement. Well, I did have an initial meeting with a representative from Comcast to talk about the city's cable franchise agreement. It did expire in 2024, but that's not necessarily unusual. I've been informed by the city attorney, who luckily for us happens to be an expert on cable franchise agreements. So just wanted to let you guys know that we'll begin working with Comcast on renewing that franchise, and we've got one of the best attorneys in the whole state to help us do it. So yay. It means I don't have to do it. Yeah. Sorry, hold on. Oh, the only other thing, the very last item on there, our staff is issuing an RFP, or has issued an RFP, to bring on a new operations and maintenance vendor for our EV chargers. As you guys probably know, the screens on there got burned out. And so they're very difficult to see, if not impossible to see on the screen. You can still charge your car using the app, and a few people do that, but we lost quite a few customers once the operability of the screens went by the wayside. And we tried to get our vendor that we had at the time out to do something about it. It was just not working very well. So we're put out an RFP to get somebody new on board and address the issues that we've had with the screens and the operability of the chargers there. So just want you to know that that's in progress.
Devin, I have a question then on the EV chargers. Will there be like a kind of a push to say, hey, our chargers are up and operating now, in order to get those customers back?
Yeah, we'll do.
Okay.
Well, yeah, we can do things. We can look at doing a number of things. Even when chargers in cities have done this, and a lot of places do this, when chargers are brand new, they'll do a free month, or they'll do a free period of time when people can come and just use them for free. There's also all kinds of apps that are out there, and you can promote your chargers on the apps, and you can, hopefully, maybe we can look at having our new vendor push back out to the apps and saying, hey, these chargers are back and operating. They've always been operating. The screens have not, yeah.
So in customers' minds,
Yes.
they're not working.
Yeah. So, and we'll put the word out on all of our social media, all of our ways. So we'll try and push and get people back to using it. But it was very unfortunate. Yeah, I think we definitely lost customers for that. And we're not in it to make money. We don't make hardly any money on it at all. It's a service for our citizens, and we just want them to have, good service and an opportunity to come and use a high-speed charger here.
And then I have one more question,
Mhm.
since we didn't, because we were busy with budgeting and what have you earlier, the cable franchise. So does that mean all of the Xfinity?
So cable franchising is just for the TV product, doesn't deal with the internet product at all. But what it really is, it's authorization to use the right of way at the end of the day, and all the rules and regulations around using the right of way in exchange for our franchise fee.
Okay.
But we have separate franchise agreements, say with Excel, we have a franchise agreement, with Comcast, we have a franchise agreement. So we don't have one agreement that applies to everybody who uses the right of way.
There's separate laws for all these different utilities, and cable is governed by the Cable Act, which is a law from the 80s. So it's very specific things that have to be done in those franchises.
So then, Brendan, can I ask just one more question? I know
course.
I was at the library trying to use the fax machine, and it's a cable that runs from 7-Eleven to the library and is underground, some type of,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
and so they had to replace
Yes.
the fax machine to work Bluetooth because that thing kept not working. So,
I mean, that could be a
Does that-
variety of different providers.
right, I mean, I have no idea who the provider is, but
Yeah.
when you're talking for cable franchising, does that include the cable that's buried or out there or anything, or just,
I mean, the short answer is no.
Okay.
Because that cable is either
Not
a
necessarily
broadband
just that
internet
one,
product
or
or
any
it's a
cable.
copper phone product,
Right.
both of which are separate regulatory issues. We are only allowed to regulate the cable franchise, cable TV, and that is it.
that's it. Just questioning. Because cable can mean a lot of things to a lot of people.
Oh, sure.
Okay,
That's all I got, Mayor. Happy to answer questions.
thanks.
Mhm.
Chief,
I just had a backpack giveaway at Alice Terry, wanted to let you know about. We gave out some, about 200 backpacks to our students going back to school there. So that was a good opportunity to get with them. And then we had active shooter training over in a building in Inglewood that is going to be torn down. So it is a really huge building, about a city block long, and there's plenty of different doors and hallways. So it is a real good opportunity to train in a place that you can't possibly know where a active shooter, the bad guy would be hiding, et cetera. So we did that in partnership with Glendale. Glendale's
Sweet.
sergeant wife works for the company, so they've been very law enforcement friendly and allowed us to go over there. So we had a really good day of training there. We use what we call Sims ammunition, which is kind of like paint pellet, but they're smaller and they hurt just like a paint pellet does. So it makes it realistic. And the officers have to, sometimes they get hit with the paintballs or the Sims and it hurts, but it makes it a lot more realistic. So a good day of training over there, and we've been able to do that with both sides of our house over there. So just wanted to bring you up to date on that. Happy to answer any questions, Councilman.
Oh, sorry. I was wondering how you funded your backpack, your community involvement, how you guys did you do fundraisers for that?
No, actually, we partner with another agency. Why can't I think of their name right now? Precious Child. So they're a company or a business or a nonprofit that is basically up north, but a few years ago I got connected with them and we've applied and we've been lucky enough to be selected each year that I've been doing it the last 5 years. So they're the ones that supply all the backpacks from their nonprofit organization. And the backpacks come full with supplies. So it's not just the backpack. It comes with pencils and crayons, and they're kind of grade specific, and that's why we choose one school at a time. We chose for the younger kids this year.
Thanks for doing that, Chief.
You're welcome. Precious Child. Any other questions?
do you have a question? Okay. Nope, no questions. Anyone else? Questions? Okay. Next we have the minutes from the regular city council meeting of August 10th, 2026. I have a motion from Councilman Camacho and a second from Mayor Pro Tem Michael Moreno. Questions? Nope, hearing none, we can go ahead and cast our votes. That passes unanimously. Next, we have the consent agenda, including approval of disbursements from August 1st, 2026 to August 15, 2026 in the amount of $576,061.61. And y'all do this stuff on purpose, don't you? We have a motion from Councilmember Whitaker and a second from Councilwoman Stang. Are there any questions other than how do these numbers keep showing up 61 and 61 cents and 76? It's just mind-boggling. We can cast our votes. That passes unanimously with 7 votes. There are no public hearings this evening. The next item is ordinance 13-2026 is an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Sheridan referring to city voters a 0.50% increase in the city sales tax sales and use tax for public safety purposes. We have a motion by Councilmember Whitaker and a second by,
To Madam
Mayor-
Mayor, we will need a public hearing for this because it is a
I was
second
gonna
reading.
ask.
Yeah.
It is a second
Yeah, so for all second readings of
question. Don't we have to have a motion and a second and it be on the table for the hearing to start?
we had the public hearing be prior to the motion, the second. Motion
Okay.
second is prior to discussion.
Okay,
So usually
I did it backwards.
if we have a staff presentation, I just find that there is in this case, we've talked about it quite a bit. You know,
Okay.
all the evidence is collected, then we move into the motion, the second, the discussion.
Because this, then I will open up the hearing
Yes.
and are there anyone to speak in the hearing? I will now close the hearing. Okay, thanks. Now we have a motion from Councilman Whitaker and a second from Mayor Pro Tem Moreno. Are there any questions on the second reading of ordinance 13-2026? Hearing none, we can go ahead and cast our votes. We have ordinances on first reading. There are none this evening. There are also no resolutions this evening. We do have the Volunteer Fire Pension Board semi-annual report. And
Good evening, everyone.
there she is. Good evening,
So-
Teresa.
I have did this once tonight, so I should get it better this time. So, hey, on page 51 of your report, we're actually going to kind of focus on the last two columns. The very last column is our January through June. As you can see, we've had no activity in our checking account. We'll go on down to the pension fund. Our beginning balance is 330,906. We have had no contributions through the end of June. The net benefits that have been paid out are 33,711. We've had interest, dividends, and other revenue of 5,130. We've had an unrealized gain of 982 and a realized gain of 2,117. And we've had fees and expenses of 3,870, leaving with an ending fund balance of 301,555. Now I'd like you to jump over to the column just to the left of that. This is where I think we will be at the end of the year. So our contributions, I can tell you that on August 8th, I made the $50,000 city contribution to FPPA. The state grant will open up on September 1st. I have been getting emails about it. I think they're switching their portals, so we will make sure to get applied for that so we see that money in before the end of the year. Our net benefits, we budgeted 90,000, but based on what we have paid throughout June, I'm predicting that to be 67,422. And then our interest and dividends, I'm saying 10,261. Our unrealized gain, 1,964. Our realized gain at 4,235, and fees and expenses of 7,740, which would leave us an ending fund balance of 345,398, which is a little bit higher than what we had budgeted for. So that leaves the pension fund in a better position. So that is the semi-annual report, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? No question. Yeah. Oh, yep.
Is there management fees associated with that account?
For the pension fund account,
Yeah.
They do charge fees for managing it, and also for when they do like the actuarial, you'll see that happens every other year. There is a fee for that. So you'll see on the odd years that increases. So yes, FPPA does charge fees for administering it.
Any other questions? Hearing none, there is a motion on the floor from Mayor Pro Tem Moreno and a second from Councilwoman Singh. Go ahead and cast your votes. That's approved and unanimously. Thanks, Teresa. Next is Mayor's Choice. Let's see, what have I done this last weekend? I did do some canvassing out in the neighborhoods, inviting people to share it and celebrate. I also went to the VFW pig roast, and let me tell you, that was a blast. They actually had pig races with the balloons, the shaped like pigs with numbers on them, 1 through 6, and they rolled the dice, and with whatever the number was, then the pig advanced. They had water balloons thrown at the new commander, who's been here to visit with us, which was fun. Just lots of really good food. So it was quite an event. There were quite a lot of people there. I really kind of enjoyed it. So that's all I have. Anyone else? Go ahead. Councilman Choice is up next. Go ahead, Mr.
Yes, so going through the neighborhood, since I've been on council now 8 months, going through the
We
neighborhood.
can't hear you.
Okay, my thing is on,
Oh,
and
hold it closer.
I was saying.
There you go.
A little closer. That the people are very happy that I was concerned to even speak to them, because when we went out for election, of course, you speak to everyone like, hey, you want to get them to sign your petition, but I was able to go out, and some of the concerns that some of the neighborhood was talking about, you answered it earlier, was about some of the roads. One of the gentlemen had got hit a pothole, and it blew out his tire, and he was like, the city should be able to pay for his rim got bent or something like that. And I don't know if anybody else experienced this, but when you're on council or something, people think you may have more power than you may actually have to say that, can you fix this situation or whatever. But what I've been doing is directing people to the sources that they need to go to. Possibly if I have a question about that, I will call, but to not have people bundle us with small problems, to have them being able to reach the people that they need to talk to about the situation. If it's something with public safety or something, I'm going to tell them, call Chief Martinez, and ask about that question, about something like that. But I'm thinking that we're in a position to direct the city to different things and sources that they may need to have to keep us not being bared with stuff, to try to handle. What I've been doing is doing research to find out what I can do to handle that problem. And if it got overwhelming, then I could come and say something to the council or something like that. But I was saying that I'm in my 8th month, learning so much things, and some things that I thought I knew, I was wrong about. Okay, and I was saying that the being very careful with the council, the name of the council, and things of that nature when I'm speaking to people, like to be able to not get. I see that there's a way that you can get in a little bit of trouble in some way by maybe saying the wrong thing or presenting the things right. So I'm learning what to have. So forgive me if I call and ask a lot of questions and things. That's when I'm new here for this. So I want to not make mistakes. I don't like to make them, but I guess we will slip somewhere. But thank everyone for all the guidance that I've been getting so far. But I'm just thinking, I'm excited. I've needed way more time, and things are becoming more apparent. Chief, on your with the department, with the with your unit, do they feel good about their safety, about everything about themselves, about your team? They feel pretty good?
Yes, you know, there's always dangers that are out there, but this is a relatively very safe city, and the support that they have from all of you and the city manager really helps them
Right.
be able to do their jobs, and feel confident that they can do it.
One of the things that I found out in the community is that they feel pretty good about the safety of the city, and that was very positive. They just crying about, we have our roads are not that bad, because if this was Mexico, not Mexico, if this was
Mhm.
San Diego, Underhampton would be San Diego. I mean, it would be no, was that Mexico? It would be Tijuana. That's what I'm trying to say. If this over here is kind of like San Diego, then when you go under the bridge, the roads get worse. So I was telling them that the roads over here are not that bad, but we have a couple of situations. Do we have a time when those roads and everything are addressed at one time, or they happen throughout the year?
It depends on what it is. So larger projects will be scheduled on an annual basis, and they rotate throughout the city depending on the condition of the pavement. And that'll be what we use as a pavement management system that grades out the pavement into like a numerical score. And then that directs us, well, okay, where do we need to pay attention to doing larger, like say, larger chip seal projects, or mill and overlay, which is, you know, doing whole sections of street at a time, right? So blocks or more at a time. If you got a situation where you got somebody that hit a pothole
Right.
and did that, just call me.
Right.
Yeah, and we'll get somebody out there like that.
Fixed, okay.
Yes. Now that we'll just do, if we get a bad pothole or got a bad situation like that, we send our crews right out.
But we do not reimburse people for damages that
People can put
That's what
in
it
a
was happening.
claim with the city. They can put forward
They
a
could put a claim
claim.
in.
They can put a
They could-
claim in, and then we would take that to our insurance companies and they would adjudicate that with
Have
that.
you ever had anyone come with that and had money returned to them? So that's positive.
Not very often,
Never-
no.
haven't really-
It doesn't
would not
happen
push
very
that part,
often.
okay?
No, because driving on streets, part of that is that there are potholes at
Yeah,
times, right?
totally.
And go ahead. I don't want to say too much.
Yeah. You assume a lot of liability, right? When you use public roads. I mean, it's a known there are known hazards, right, that
Right.
exist. So someone could, apply their insurance, certainly. You could try to make a claim that the city's insurance is probably not going to go very far.
But it's not unrealistic for them to to approach. It's not unrealistic.
I would caution them that it's unlikely they would succeed,
Okay.
but it is an option that they could try to make a claim on the city's insurance. They'd be much better off claiming on their own insurance if it was a significant problem.
Okay, well, thank you. And Jenna, I want to go to the conference. I believe it's going to be very helpful. The CML was just really helped me, and I'm looking forward to this next event. So thank you.
And just one other point, if it was federal or if it was 285, that just because it lies in the city doesn't mean that we're responsible for it. Some of them belong to CDOT. Right? So,
Yeah, so federal and 285 are regional roadways that are owned and operated by the state, CDOT.
State, yeah,
Mhm.
okay,
Mhm.
all right.
anyone else? Jay, you have anything?
I do. I was grateful to represent the city on the board of directors at Dr. Cog last week. And they wanted those of us that were there to convey back to our councils that we want to move on approving the traffic congestion reduction and on-road mobile source emissions reduction targets if we get the chance. They expanding multimodal transportation. What's that?
Coco.
Yeah, is a big deal. The other main thing I got from there is they are going to be expanding E470 between 104th and what I think might be Santa Fe still, 85 up north. That's neat to see that going because E470 has been amazing. They're expanding that. That's all.
Nice, thank you. Thank you for representing.
Councilman Whitaker, could you tell me what was the standard that Dr. Cog wanted us to adopt? I'm not sure I know that
Okay.
one. Just so I can write it down correctly.
They recommend we move to approve the traffic congestion reduction and on-road mobile source emissions reduction targets. Very loaded sentence.
Yeah.
Traffic congestion reduction.
I'll see if I'm sure they got a model or something for us to look at. I just haven't, I don't remember seeing that.
I brought my packet if you want it.
Okay, that'd be great. Thank
Yeah,
you.
okay. I'll give it to you afterwards. Thank you.
Ernie, do you have anything? Anthony, anything else? Yes? Nope. Mayor Pro Tem Michael Moreno. With that, I can go ahead and call this meeting adjourned.
Madam Mayor, we have public comment first.
Oh, yes, we do, but do we have anyone?
I know, but we still got to call for it.
It is time for public comment. Is there anyone here that would like to comment? Nope. Now I'm calling this meeting to adjourn at 19:39 or 7:39 PM. And we are moving into the SRA, Sheridan Redevelopment Agency. I will call the August 24th, 2026 regular meeting of the Sheridan Redevelopment Agency to order at 19:39 or 7:39 PM. All members are present. And online as well. We have the approval of minutes. We have the SRA regular meeting of July 27, 2026. I have a motion from Mayor Pro Tem Moreno and a second from Councilmember Camacho. Are there any questions on the SRA regular meeting of July 27, 2026? Hearing none, we can go ahead and cast our votes. That measure passes by 7. Next is wait a minute. SRA special meeting of August 3rd, 2026. I have a motion from Mayor Pro Tem Moreno and a second from Councilwoman Stang. Are there any questions? Hearing none, go ahead and cast your votes. That's also approved by 7. Next, we have the financial reports. And I have a motion from Councilmember Camacho and a second by Councilwoman Stang. Are there any questions on the financial reports? Hearing none, we can go ahead and cast our votes. Passes unanimously. Next, we have the approval of the August 2026 disbursements in the amount of $168,071.88. I have a motion from Councilmember Whitaker and a second from Mayor Pro Tem Moreno. Are there any questions on the disbursements? Hearing none, we can cast our votes. That measure also passes by a vote of 7. There are no resolutions listed on the agenda. We have new business, which leads us to Ms. Teresa and your report.
All right, good evening again, everyone. So on page 21 of the report, I would like to report on the pledged revenues. Year to date, we are still higher by 2.5%. So very happy. I know I always say that, but I'm very happy to always see that trending higher. Since the last meeting, continuing compliance was a little crazy. We approved the audit at our July meeting, and then from there, we have to the debt service disclosure requirements that we have to comply with once that audit is finalized. So we have a lot of filing requirements for that. Then once you approved at the special meeting on the 3rd, the 7th Amendment to the LLC agreement, then again, a lot of that starts the ball rolling. So then we can get everything finalized with Kimco and JP Morgan and everyone. So those are all done, finalized. See you later. So I'm very happy. Moving on, then we get to do budget. So 2027 budget, we are going to be presenting that at the September 14th meeting to go over that. And then we will have it to be presented for approval on the September 28th regular meeting. So keeping busy and happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions? Anyone? Thank you, Teresa.
Thank you. You guys have a good night.
Thank you. And with, if there are no questions, you can go ahead and call this meeting adjourned at 19:44 or 7:44 p.m.